Good evening. Mike Scarborough here with Buddy Songy. Another edition of TigerBait Live. Got a lot to discuss. We're just about at the midway point of LSU spring football practices. Matt McMahon trying to put together a basketball roster. LSU baseball on their way to Mississippi State. Beth Torina's softball team not faring as well. We don't get much softball on the show. We can talk that tonight, but of course we're brought to you by Pride Roofing. And we're going to go for a full hour tonight. We're going to try to get to as many of your questions as we can. And Buddy Songy is the hardest working man in media. He's been out to every single spring football practice alongside myself. He sat in on interviews. And while I'm doing player interviews, he's also with the print group, hearing them twice. So we've got a lot of knowledge that I think we can spread tonight and get to your questions and comments. How you doing, buddy?
Good to see you there, Michael Scarborough. I would not say that we are the hardest working men and women in the media, but we have been out there because unprecedented coverage and access, and you can't gripe and complain about it if when it is granted to you, you don't take advantage of you. So, folks, if we seem a little silly, and Cabo actually said this earlier, and I asked him about thanking Ryan Kelly.
It was on my mind to do it as well.
But what he said is that thank you for letting us see and do our jobs better. And that's all we try to do. Obviously, we have opinions, but it's nice not to get booted out. We stayed for the first time in over 25 years, 2.5 hours, and then we waited around for players and Kelly and all that, and then did the report. And it was good to be out there, but it was also good to see some things for your own eyes and to have a better viewpoint, I think. And, of course, I did the tidbits, but I got a lot more shorter stuff tonight to interact along with you and all the other stuff happening.
Well, the show tonight, as always, every week, brought to you by Mike Faraday, Alex Martinez, the great folks over at Pride Roofing. We're going to talk about them a little bit later in the show. But please do us a favor. If you're watching, you enjoy the show, share the show to your social media, your Facebook, Twitter, the LSU groups on Facebook. Very much appreciative if you do that. And if you like the show, hit the like button. And I'm still looking at our analytics. And I think maybe it's because a lot of guys still have not registered for a YouTube account. But I think like 75% of our viewers are not subscribers to the channel. They watch every week, but they don't hit the subscription button. So if you hit the subscription button and the notification bell, you're going to get an alert when we go live, when I upload player interviews, when I upload highlight footage. We're putting up interviews there. I've got a backlog of years of TigerBait TV that I'm going to start uploading after the spring evaluation period when we got the slow period. I've got over a decade of prospect footage, what we call the TigerBait Video Vault. Old footage of Leonard Fournette. I had a little interaction with Tyrann Mathieu earlier this evening. And I asked him, because I couldn't remember if it was LaGrange or Washington Marion that I filmed him on that Saturday. And he goes, no, it was LaGrange, and I even played some running back in that game. And so he remembered. So I think I've got that in there. I've got so much stuff going back years where I've been on the road filming prospects. If you want to see remember what Devon Godshaw and guys like that, I've got all that stuff. And I'm going to start rolling that out to our YouTube channel for free. A lot of that stuff was behind in fact, all of that stuff was behind the paywall. And so it's just sitting there. So I'm going to put it all out for free. And so a lot of guys can reminisce. Former players can share it themselves, and we can have some fun with it. But all that is why you need to subscribe to the TigerBait YouTube channel and hit the notification bell.
Hey, look, if you hadn't seen the videos, I think it's pretty obvious that Mike does a great job with the zoom and with the focus and with the filming of the important stuff. Of course, everybody's shooting different stuff and some same stuff. Today was protesting day. Derek Stingley ran 4.37, which was kind of predicted, but moved well in the drills. And obviously he says, I'm back to being me. I think the conventional wisdom right now is that he's going to be top 10. Somebody might jump up and take him 7, and then again, if he doesn't interview well, he might drop to 10 or 11. But I think 7, 8, 9, 10.
Does it even benefit him that he maybe slides a little bit because there's some better teams that he would be on?
Well, look, you never can. And obviously the Saints have made some trades to move up. A lot of things going on. Flott ran good. Jonathan Kirkland, great story today. Vertical over 40 at 42.5. Andre Anthony, another great story, running 4.63. That guy was the heart and soul and one of the captains that couldn't play last year because of the injuries. So all of that, you bring out the film and the nostalgia.
Well, you bring up the pro day. When I see Glenn Logan's 18 reps with 225, it wasn't too many years ago, and I'm talking within single digits years ago, that I was in that realm at 200 pounds. So a guy like him that's in a pro day, he's got to do better than that. And I know that years under Tommy Moffitt, he didn't emphasize bench press. But a guy like that probably ought to do it even if he hadn't done much press. I mean, what does Logan weigh in at?
Well, he did come back, if you remember, very, very heavy, and he did lose the weight. And, well, I will say this.
I mean, I couldn't come close to doing it now. I'd blow my shoulders and elbows out.
Well, but I'm going to say this. As far as the bench press and actual game of football, you don't need the bench press except when you're on the bottom of the pile, pushing
all
people
Olympic.
off, or you're scrambling for a fumble and trying to get the ball, and it gets all that pushing and shoving. But that all being said, it is a little smaller number that probably you expected 24, 25 from a guy like him.
Yeah. And but I think some other guys, man, like, again, you brought up Kirkland in that vertical, and I was talking to another media member earlier today, and I'm like, that's the kind of guy. This could be like, Russell Shepard and James Wright and Russell Gage that, didn't have a great career at LSU, but all of a sudden finds a place in the NFL, and he's playing for years and years. Gage just signed a big deal a week or two ago. So
4 or 5 questions, and then let's take some interaction.
Let me run through real quick. Alley Boy says, "Let's go. Welcome to the show, American Patriot. Go Tigers. What is happening to our baseball team? Total collapse. We'll talk about that. Let's go, Brandon. Let's go. Let's bring it, Mike. Hope Buddy didn't take the day off. No, as you see, he's here. Carl the Cat done. Me and Buddy were setting up in the parking lot for post practice. 2 times back?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I look up and it was I'm in the parking lot in front of the old across the street from the old Alex box. And I'm setting up. I look. There's nobody in the area. Then I turn around again, and there's Carl the Cat. He like appeared out of nowhere, like Michael Landon in what is it? What is this show, Highway to Heaven?
Yeah.
It's like Carl the Cat just came out of nowhere. Good to see Carl the Cat out there. Of course, he was on his way to Alex box to watch the baseball team.
Really good dude. Just don't pull for him to referee your game, because if it does, Cat's going to have his glasses sponsored by Coca-Cola. Sorry, Cat.
Aaron Abu Johnson, hello, fellas. I'm tuning in. You all are the hardest working in the business. I don't know about that. We try. There's a lot of good guys out there. I think Jacques Doucet might be.
Jacques done a great job. And look, a lot of people doing a great job. And once again, back to that excess.
Chessa's rolling around. Everybody's out there.
Here's the 4 things that I'm looking for now as we get into the second week of full pads. And let's dive right into it, folks. Is Miles Brennan going to assert himself and get to the top of the leaderboard? Oh, by the way, the Masters tomorrow, Tiger Woods going to try to play. But can he walk all 4 rounds of 18 holes? Very hilly, we'll see. But the leaderboard is Miles Brennan, along with the spring game and the rest of the camp, going to set the bar and say, I'm the guy to beat going in to the fall camp. Is Jaden Daniels going to get a little bit better acclimated to the team, his receivers, his running backs, and the surroundings of what he's got to work with this spring camp? Then you got Garrett Nussmeier says, don't call me a gunslinger. Oh, by the way, I love LSU. That's why it hurt me a lot not to play in that game. And then you got a guy like Walker Howard who can break a leg or have a thumb surgery or whatever, and it never stops him. He's just still out there. So those 4 guys, I'm hoping, as we said today on the show, you split up Brennan and Daniels, you split up Nussmeier and Walker, and those are your 2 quarterbacks on each team. We don't know the format, what they're going to kind of do, if it'll be 2 full teams, or is it going to be all offense or defense?
First practice, what did I say? I said the 2 youngest guys looked the best and the 2 oldest guys looked the worst, and I thought Miles looked the worst at first practice. Fast forward to Saturday, I thought Miles Brennan looked the best, and Jaden Daniels is always kind of in the middle to me. I think just as far as accuracy, throwing the ball, velocity, I think Jaden Daniels is probably always going to finish last. I just believe that. But that doesn't mean that he's not going to be the starter or he can't win the job, because he does. He's got legs, he's got experience, and then we don't know which guy, when they go into meeting rooms and they're breaking down offenses, which guy's grasping it, is answering Den Brock and Joe Sloan's questions the right way, the right check downs and everything they're supposed to do. So who's ahead in that department? And that's not something they're ever going to tell you. But I think that the bottom line is, of the 4 quarterbacks, I think you're going to have 2 answers as far as 2 guys, 1 and 2 for the fall. And then we can get in the whole debate about whether they can hold on to all 4 without somebody heading out before August.
Yeah. Well, let's get to questions.
Yeah, Blaine Smith, first one up. Good evening, guys. Any sophomores looking good so far in the spring?
Obviously, this is a big year. And listen, everybody laments about the fact that Nick came in here and mimicked the Honey Badger and took 3 frickin' really good wide receivers to Alabama this last year. I'm not even going to talk about the dancing tight end. But LSU's got 3 sophomore wideouts that I really think have a chance to make a statement and be on the football field appreciably more. And Malik Neighbors has been hurt, but man, when he's healthy, he's explosive. He plays bigger than his size. Then you got Chris Hilton. He can run for days. Look, we talk about lifting. Chris Hilton has put a good 10 pounds.
He looks great. Fantastic.
He is much bigger and stronger. And then you got Brian Thomas Jr., the glider, who now is listed at 6'3" because they're giving legitimate heights and weights now instead of the phony stuff, the fake news with weights and inches. Lo and behold, those 3 sophomores right there have a chance to make a big impact. We know Butte, Jare Jenkins, and Jack Bash are probably your first 3. Then, of course, you throw in Kyron Lacey. I think those are the top 7 wide receivers. But those are some sophomores. And then you got the 2 running backs. Corey Kiner looks a step faster, and the question is it going to be running back by committee? We know Emory has a chance to be the guy, but Kiner's looked pretty good, and then Armani Goodwin, who was hurt. So that's 5 sophomores right there, and we hadn't even got to the defensive part.
Well, and then how much are those running backs saying that they need to really show what they can do this spring so they have a head start before Noah Kane arrives?
Absolutely.
And we just all assume that, well, Emory's the guy, and look, everybody's pulling for him. He had an injury, missed the season, shared time with TDP, and you want the guy to do well, but I don't think anybody's going to concede anything to him. He's going to have to earn it, and he's going to have to show they can hold on to the football. Kenny Russell. Mike and Buddy, I feel like recruiting has been off. I think it's pivotal that Kelly and staff can maintain these top 10 classes. We won't get all recruits from the state, but we must lock it down. Kenny, I went line by line Sunday, and, of course, they were extending a lot of offers. I don't know, was there half a dozen or so guys that visited this past weekend, and a lot of it's out of state. And I totaled up the numbers, and I'm telling you, the number of kids in state of Louisiana that actually have committable offers from this staff isn't the number of guys that you're seeing in whatever recruiting database you're looking at that have offers next to their name. I think there's probably about 5 or 6 guys that don't have offers. There's 3 or 4 that haven't even heard from this staff. And I think rightfully so. I'm not going to name names. But there's also some kids that I'm kind of scratching my head about. Now, does that change once the spring evaluation gets uncorked and all these coaches hit the road and they start visiting schools? I think locally about Jordan Matthews, Rashawn Matthews' son. He's not hearing anything from LSU. Had an offer from the previous staff. David Jones at Madison Prep, a guy I like, a little undersized. He kind of fits in that Jordan Allen category at Lafayette Christian last year. Every time I saw Madison Prep, David Jones was the guy making plays, and at times was their most valuable player in a lot of big football games. And so he's someone to watch. I guess what I'm saying is, are they going to turn their attention to the Louisiana kids in a much bigger way come May and then in June when they get them all on campus? And so we'll see. It's going to be very interesting. But I did a little breakdown the other day, and it's like, so when you figure out the guys that actually could call tomorrow and commit, and then you back out guys like Eli Holstein, Arch Manning, Tackett Curtis, who else? Jaden Alsbury, does he do like his brother and go out of state? So when you back those guys out of the list, the list of guys that could call and commit tomorrow, that number is small in state right now.
No, look, it's one of the questions I'm going to ask Coach Kelly if we get a chance. And, of course, there's a lot of media people, and so you don't – and he doesn't go as long. But, hey, we've had that access, so we're not going to gripe. But the big question, I think, is, number one, the way you and Denbrock like to play, smash mouth, with the big uglies. We don't have 6'6", 265-pound tight ends in Louisiana that can run for days like Notre Dame had. Don't have the big uglies. And as we see with those offers, they are going heavy into the Midwest because they got coaches that have relationships and contacts.
But like Lance Hurd at Neville gets an offer last week. That's big.
Yeah.
And I think LSU's in great shape there. You got Tyree over at St. Aug. Those are two offensive linemen. Got to have them. If there's two offensive linemen in the state, you got to get them both. Because you never know when there's going to be a year like you said on your show today where you got one in Cedric Van Pran and he doesn't even visit.
But the question is, are they going to continue to recruit regional, or are they going to expand this thing and go national?
Oh, they're going to go national, but
I think so too. And the last coach that went national recruiting there,
Mike Archer,
Nick Saban. No, Mike Archer fell into that unfortunate love for Texas and brought a bunch of guys from Texas that didn't care.
Golden Pod says Michael Lee's been working out with Jacob Flint. No, I've just been eating out with the buffet boys. Blaine Smith, kind of weird. Joe Brady is still looking for a job. I didn't realize that. Is the book written on him? Is that what's going on?
I thought he had landed a job somewhere, but look, I thought that was just absolutely stupid. I hate to call anybody stupid, but that was ridiculous thinking that Joe Brady was going to come back over here. He doesn't like college football. He doesn't like to recruit. He doesn't like to chase 18-year-olds.
Kenny Russell, you can definitely tell we've lacked in strength conditioning the last few years. Don't think this is one of our better draft classes.
No, definitely not.
Cody Quibido, with Kelly's comments at his press conferences, it certainly seems that things with O may have been worse than we thought. Seems that like Kelly had to retrain them how to practice.
Well, look, we talk about a lot of analogies, but I think Coach Kelly, when he was being interviewed during the Texas Bowl, said they had availability for about 39 scholarships. And as we know, a lot of people left, and a lot of people got in the transfer portal. A lot of people were hurt, and a lot of people just quit. And lo and behold, as we know, it is a new day in LSU where there is accountability, there's a sense of urgency, there is a student athlete that means something. You're going to go to class, you're going to do it the right way, you're going to be on time, or there are going to be repercussions. And Jordan Toll said it best. He said, great players want discipline, and that's what LSU's getting right now. Now, how long will it take for the results to be? I think that's what makes the story so interesting to follow, Mike.
We got somebody who's spying on you and is ratting out saying you've messed up your diet. Says, good evening, Mike and Buddy. I saw Buddy in the drive-thru at McDonald's.
Well, I'm not sure who that was, but unfortunately.
Was you just getting coffee or were you getting a big breakfast?
That is erroneous. I will tell you that was fake news. Now,
in line at MC, is there an MC that's not McDonald's?
No, but unfortunately. Now, if they said Cane's picking up kids for her grandkids.
You'll fess up to Cane's?
Oh, yeah, because I pick up Cane's for them once a week. But McDonald's, no, you didn't see me. Sorry.
You might see me at McDonald's.
Hey, Charlie Veluzzo's going, I'm going. Sorry.
Yeah. Larry saying Stingley should have come back for another year, if for nothing else, to get his stock back up.
Oh,
I don't know how his stock could be any better than it is.
Man.
I mean, to come back for another year to maybe, at what best, move up.
He just got healthy. You don't come back to hurt yourself in college again. Come on, Larry, drink another pop.
Yeah. Smash the like button, says Mark J. Thank you, Mark. Very much appreciated. Trey Guy adds, good evening, Mike and Buddy. Looking forward to your take on spring football at this point. Yeah, he said McDonald's. Yeah, man. That wasn't him. It had to have been somebody else, he says.
Well, ask him what color car I was driving.
Well, yeah, what color car?
And we'll see. By the way, second tidbit that I am going to follow closely, Mike, that offensive line. And I hate to tell you this, guys, but once again, I think it's going to be really a big part of how well LSU does in the 2022 season. Now, look, we all know that those guys last year were up and down, and they had some moments, and a lot of them were out of shape, but they had experience. You don't have anybody that's played on the LSU line as a starter right now other than Cam Wire. And so you got Charles Turner starting at center, backed up by your guy, Fitzgerald West, and then Marlon Martinez. You got Cardell Thomas, who is a great story right now. Still needs to lose about 10, but he's doing a great job. You got Doomerville, who we loved coming out of Florida, but he hasn't played any starting football. Now, Tremont Shorts was at a grad transfer from East Tennessee State, but he got hurt, and I didn't see him on Saturday. And then, of course, Cam Wire at left tackle, Will Campbell behind that, Emory Jones coming in. So this line is not going to look like it looks in the fall right now. But I don't know about you. If you watch some of the 11-11, there was quite a bit of pressure on those quarterbacks. In fact, there were some sacks, and they didn't give any stats. But for the spring game, you're going to see some sacks, unfortunately.
James Phillips, after seeing several practices, what positions need the most help from the transfer portal? That's easy to me. Tight end and cornerback. I like the defensive line. I think the offensive line, we'll see what happens with Tyler Steen. Is that LSU? Is that Alabama? Is Virginia sneaking in because his brother's there? We keep thinking we're going to hear something any minute. Don't know.
Not one, but two NID.
But I will say, I think after they left here, before they went to Alabama, I think LSU was in great shape several weeks ago. But did they finish second? Did they finish third? I think we're going to find out, but they would love to have him.
Sure.
So, but I think tight end, corner, center. But, you know, look, what if Dellicker can get it done? That might be the natural position for Garrett Dellicker.
And I mentioned that in the tidbits. He hasn't been out there. He's going to get cross-trained at center and the inside guard spots. He'll be back. I'm excited about Emory Jones. I think he's going to come in and definitely be in the two deep. When's the light going to go on for Will Campbell? Listen, we love Cam Wire, but he does have tender knees, and there'll be some times out there where you'll see him limping off.
I bet you Cam Wire would be happy if that meant he could move somewhere else down the line. But it's a matter of time for Will Campbell.
Yeah, no doubt.
I mean, I whether it's game 1, game 4, whatever it's going to be. When you look at the offensive line, is it hard to pick him out?
No, he's very impressive.
I mean, it just they don't look any better than him just standing there. Will is something else. Great kid. How does Savion Jones look? I thought he looked real good when I saw him. If you saw my video, by the way, our video on Saturday was 20 minutes even. I think the whole package was like 14 or 15 gigs. And we're going to be at practice tomorrow, Saturday. We get Brian Poley in tomorrow, the first of the coordinators that we get through spring. So really looking forward to that. And I'm really, because we're getting him tomorrow night, I'm going to make a beeline to special teams and see if I can get some footage of them. I've been unable to see them at all.
Yeah.
But I think Savion looks the part. I think, I keep saying he and Quincy are very similar. Raw guys, look very impressive, long bodies. Which of the two raw guys is going to make their way first? And of course, you got Ojolari and Ali Gay ahead of them.
Well, by the way, you just named the three defensive ends on the left side. Ali Gay, Savion Jones, and Quincy Williams. Okay, so you got 11, 35, and 93. And speaking of sophomores that was asked earlier, Savion Jones is a sophomore. This is his year to
Well, redshirt freshman.
No, I looked at it. They listed him as a sophomore. I thought he redshirted, but they listed him as a sophomore.
When we talk about tight end, and there was
he's sophomore.
And there was something that they said about cross training some guys or making some guys look at tight end. Do we know that they ever looked at Jarrell Cherry or who was the other guy? Desmond Little. Why wouldn't you try those guys at tight end?
Yeah,
I mean, Desmond Little's got that tight end body.
Yeah.
He's been in the program. He's a redshirt junior now. He hasn't given you anything. Why would you try him there?
Marlon Taylor's going to have to play.
Or either that, or they've tried him there and he's got stone hands and it just doesn't work. Or some guys will refuse to move. But I don't know.
By the way, Mr. Mashburn, Monster Mash, is your starting tight end, and Cole Taylor your second tight end. But the whole point, Mike, is that you're not going to be able to see them line up like Denbrock and them do with the three tight ends on that bunch formation and smash mouth on third and two. I just don't think you're going to have that capability for a couple of years until you recruit it.
Brian Madeir, hey guys, how long does the Gran Torino have before she walks Woody's plank? Beth Torino. Man, we're getting a lot of people questioning Beth Torino right now.
Look, if you are a softball enthusiast, and I remember Softball Roy and many people used to call into the show, and this, of course, all the way back to Yvette. But most people think that she needs to tweak her staff, specifically the hitting coach. Now, Howard Dawson was picked up
She didn't have any pitchers.
Well, I know, but a lot of people have not – they want to see change. And right now, Beth Torino is going up, and then it's flattened out. And unfortunately, as we know, people live vicariously through their teams. And so now she's made it to Oklahoma City, 4 times, I think, and done a great job there.
But what's the trend?
And that's what I'm saying. What have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
So there is pressure on her. I don't think she feels it because she's done a great job. But most people feel like –
I would love to see her turn around because she's likable.
But most people think she needs to tweak her staff.
Yeah, she's real loyal to that guy.
Well, I know.
Right?
I know.
So
was Jerry DiNardo to Lou Tepper.
All right. Well, I tell you, one of the things we do here every week, and we're here because of these guys, Pride Roofing. Let's hear from Mike and Alex.
Hi, I'm Michael with Pride Roofing.
I'm Alex.
Were you affected by Hurricane Ida?
Insurance claim, no problem.
Are you concerned about the shortage of building materials?
We have what you need.
We're licensed residential and commercial contractors.
In Louisiana and Mississippi.
We install shingles, metal, and commercial roofing. From Baton Rouge to Slidell or Houma up to the North Shore.
We got you covered. Call Pride, 855-PRIDE-16.
Pride Roofing, the official roofer of TigerBait.com.
And there they were, Mike Faraday, Alex Martinez, Pride Roofing, the official roofing company of TigerBait.com. And as always, give them a call, 855-PRIDE-16 for your free roof inspection, whether it's commercial or residential. Give them a call. Have them come out, look at your roof. Tell them that you heard about them on TigerBait, and they're going to pay for you to get free TigerBait for 1 year. And you can't beat it. And, of course, they've got the best warranty on their labor in the business. And, of course, they just bought a big company and right across the street. What's the
Crown Metals.
Crown Metals, huge operation now. Go swing by their operation right there on Florida Boulevard in Albany.
You know, DiNardo told me years ago, I was speaking to Jerry D, he said, Buddy, you can take a $150 T-shirt and make it look like it came from Kmart. And I do have the Pride Roofing shirt and hat on. But, folks, let's get real. You want to do business with people who, first of all, care. Secondly, take pride in the business that they do. Thirdly, live up to what they say. We're going to get there early. We're going to get it done. Now that we have the extra hour of sunlight, we really are going to get you done. Even though when it was dark at 5, they still got you done. And the main thing is that they're going to have the T and the C. You got to have it in every relationship. You're going to trust them, and they're going to communicate with you. And, oh, by the way, we've had quite a few people say, I want to do business with Pride Roofing, but they're $150 or $200 more or whatever. They will sharpen the pencil, give them a chance, communicate with them. Baton Rouge, 275-2041. Outside that area, 855-PRIDE-16. Trust me, you will have pride in the roof and the way your house looks if you do business with these people.
Absolutely. Bobby C., one of my oldest, longest subscribers, been with TigerBait for over 20 years. They just did his mama's house in Villa Del Rey, and he and his brother are happy with the service they got from Pride Roofing. And so we've got testimonials like that across the board. Buddy knows people, I know people, and they've been fantastic. One of my old college buddies, they did his roof right after Ida, and had some banging noise up there, and there was just a little bitty piece of felt that when the air vent up there, when the winds, with those gusts we've been having the last 2 weeks, it was making a noise. It was flapping, and they were right out there the next day to get it done. So call Pride Roofing, 855-PRIDE-16. Yeah, Leonard, Sarasota. Am I watching an episode of The Smurfs? Looking good in blue tonight, gentlemen. Better hire, in y'all's opinion, Matt House or Mike Denbrock? Whew.
Wow, that is an interesting question. Of course,
is.
we haven't seen either one.
That's a good one.
In a game, or even in spring, or even a controlled scrimmage.
See, let me tell you about the blue shirt, though.
Yeah.
Jacques Doucet told me years ago that you wear blue on TV. So I've got a whole closet full of blue. Then I tell Buddy that, and he starts wearing the blue. It's a trick. What is it? You don't wear a white. I don't think you wear a black, but blue always works.
Well, look, bottom line is that we appreciate what Pride Roofing does for all of us out there, not only Mike and myself, but the people that they do business with. And doesn't it give you great pride when you have a great sponsor that you can be so proud of? And look, like I said with the T-shirt, they go the extra mile. And you talked about that blue, and I talked to the GF before, and she says, sometimes you make me blue, so I'm wearing that for her tonight.
Yeah, Matt House or Denbrock, man.
Look, both of them have great reputations coming in.
Yeah, I can't pick. But,
Denbrock has worked with Kelly before, and House has been to D.C. and Kentucky. If you're to D.C. and Kentucky.
If the team gives up a late touchdown, you're going to be cussing Matt House in the game, and if the offense is struggling, you're going to cuss. I mean, they're going to get their bouquets and they're going to get their darts thrown at them either way.
But here's the thing that I hope fans are cognizant of: you can't expect it all in 1 year. Now, look, the schedule it sets up nicely for them to win 8 or 9 games, believe it or not.
They need to get that first one.
Well, there's no doubt. You got it. I mean, I'm sorry, Florida State's not in the same area code with LSU in the last 20 years in football. But what I'm trying to tell you is this. Denbrock and Kelly can't play the smash mouth offense that they want to play right now. It's going to take a couple of recruiting classes. House, on the other hand, has a nice front, but, man, he's thin at corner. And as we know, the DBs, you love Greg Brooks and you love Fouché and you love Jay Ward, but we don't have any Chris Carriers back out there, 6'4". You love Chris Carrier as a DB at LSU because he could bat the ball away and protect the ball over the top.
What did Chris Carrier run in the NFL Combine? 4.7?
Oh, yeah, had to be. But
he's a big guy.
Well, that's my point, though. They're big at the corners and short at the safeties, and so I just love the fact that the guy was at Kansas City. He picked up everything on the pro game, was at Kentucky. He's going to come in here, and all the players we've interviewed, they are going to be aggressive. Even Mike Jones Jr. said they're going to be blitzing from the linebackers.
Chris Carrier would be a tight end in today's game.
Yeah, he probably would. Denbrock, on the other hand, hey, you heard Brian Kelly in one of his first press conferences. If it's a good play call, Brian Kelly called it. If it's not so good play call, Mike Denbrock.
Jordan B. says Joe Brady's the Bills quarterbacks coach.
Yeah.
I haven't kept up with it.
Yeah, I thought he had landed a job.
Are You Serious Sports? Buddy, he gives you a call out. Our good buddy Blake Ruffino. BK, love you, Mike and Buddy. Hope y'all are doing well. Appreciate the perspective. Thanks for the kind words, BK, very much. I'm glad you're enjoying the show. Jason LeBlanc, Joe Brady. Yeah, everybody's hitting us with that. That shows how much I pay attention to all-season NFL. Kenny Russell, Mike, I know you personally were high on Aaron Anderson when most recruiting us weren't, and I hear he's got a chance to start at Bama this year. We have to hit on the elite players in state or Saban will continue to clean up. The minute I saw Aaron Anderson, I swear to God, I thought that's a Saban kid.
Well, you told me it was a Josh Reed type.
Because
of
I was thinking Josh Reed, and I knew when Saban got a look at him, he'd probably be thinking the same thing. Sure enough, a few months later, he gets an Alabama offer. I don't know. I tend to think, and look, you can't write this. Who knows what was going on behind the scenes? NIL, not NIL perks. But I think if Aaron Anderson was not going to sign until February, if he wasn't a mid-termer, I think Frank Wilson might have had a real chance there.
Yeah.
But there was not enough time.
Right.
But I think that kid's a gamer, man.
Yeah. Of course, we lamented the fact the year before that LSU lost JoJo Earl at the end to Alabama, and he did not hurt LSU. But I think I'm with you. I think Aaron Anderson has the chance to be special.
Mark J. Is that what they're saying, Kenny? You've been paying attention to Alabama's practice reports? Are they oohing and on about Aaron Anderson? Let me know. Mark J. I'm still concerned about the center and right guard positions.
Absolutely, Mark. I think it is a concern that is probably well thought after. Look, Charles Turner, the only time we've seen him actually play in a game, he had the limpy, I say limp, as not the right trajectory on the center snap. I think he got it fixed. I think he's doing better there. He has gotten bigger. Of course, the guy came over from ING. Marlon Martinez, we thought was going to be in the mix. He's at the third reps. Fitzgerald West, you're one of the guys that told Fitzgerald West, you need to move the offense. That kid will probably thank you in a couple of years for you giving him that tidbit.
Well, I don't know that he was listening to me, or I don't know that I told him that, but I thought it when I saw him 2 years ago.
But he is – now, come on. You got a guy that's never started at center, and you got a true freshman.
He is a smart kid. He's a hard worker.
But they had never played a game in college, and you expect him to block Alabama, Florida,
I always bring up Jamie with this because Jamie swears he's Todd McClure all over again. What did Todd McClure do in high school? Did he play any?
Oh, yeah, he played more. But Todd McClure came in, of course, with...
Was he a center, though?
Yeah. Well, in high school, he played all over. I think he played tackle and all that, central. But look, Todd McClure and, of course, Herb Tyler came in and both started that night against North Texas. That was the week after Jerry DiNardo. He's getting a lot of pub. Good to see you, Coach. He had the worst uniform combination ever. Purple pants, purple jersey.
Is that Kentucky?
Yeah.
I remember it.
Melvin Hill was the quarterback. 50 offensive snaps. They botched 25 of the calls.
We always wondered what the purple would look like. We got it. They lost to Kentucky, and then it ruined it. You could never wear them again for a while.
Yeah. Well, look, they've got a lot of cool combinations. A lot of people are digging on this purple and white stuff now with the uniform.
Yeah. I still say the original old gold helmets, the first retro uniform they did. Remember them?
Yeah.
With the old gold.
Sure.
It's kind of like St. Aug used to wear, and then St. Aug got away from them. But that, I think when they wore it against Arkansas,
Yeah.
that was the prettiest. I think that was the prettiest one ever. Because that's the original LSU gold. I think that was the prettiest throwback of a uniform that they ever had. And St. Aug wore those helmets, and every time I see St. Aug, I'm like, I can't believe y'all got rid of those helmets. I think St. Aug, when they wore those helmets, that was like the classiest, richest looking uniform in Louisiana high school football.
By the way, third big tidbit we're going to give you tonight is that LSU media will interview Brian Polian tomorrow. He is the special teams coordinator and obviously the son of Bill Polian. He's been around football all of his life. He really was the point guy when Brian Kelly was hired, that really kind of came over here as the first assistant.
Did you see the thing I put up on him that linked to that seminar he gave with the guys at Huddle? They called it Blitz 22.
I did see it on the site. I didn't look at it.
Y'all got to watch that. It's like 45, 50 minutes, and it's him. And he, of course, he wrote a book, but he really goes into dealing with today's athlete and their demos, the things that they have experienced, the things that they experienced that we didn't. It was really good. I think a lot of coaches ate that up. I have it linked on the site. If you go to TigerBait under the news feed, scroll down football, and you'll see it. I think I ran it early last week. Really good. If you got some time to kill to watch that.
It's the hardest thing to simulate in practice. You can have gunners, and once you run them 2 or 3 times, they get tired. You can't simulate 100,000 people in the stands. A 42-yard field goal. You make it, you win. You miss it, you lose. Every specialist is going to be different. They brought in Slade Roy as the deep snapper. We looked. I saw a lefty and a righty the other day with place kicking. Who's going to kick off? Avery Atkins, the best ever kickoff. Cade York. I'm ready to say it now. Okay. I know that Brown Dyke went 14 for 14 and didn't miss a kick, but I really think all the years Cade York is going to go down, in my opinion, as the best place kicker LSU's had, without a doubt, the best place kicker past 50 yards.
Would you put Brown Dyke too?
No, I mean Brown Dyke. Brown Dyke was great.
Cole Tracy would be where?
Oh, I'm just saying, Cade York, Mike, look up the number of 50-yard field goals plus that he's made. Nobody's even close. So you got to replace him. You got to replace your kickoff guy. Jay Bramblett, the punter from Notre Dame, is coming in. Malik Neighbors is going to possibly be, along with Chris Hilton, in the return game. But gunners and all those other things, people forget, as you said about Brian Polian, this is not just throwing 7, 8, 9 guys go run play on special teams. This is very organized. Going to be interesting to see how quick that comes together.
Where would you put Ronnie Lewis?
Right up there. Right up there.
We're really showing our age when we bring up Ronnie Lewis. Let's see.
Oh, by the way, while you're waiting, shout out to Blake, who's done a good job with Mike Jones Jr. on those interviews. Well, we always have, folks, media go-to guys that give us the best sound quotes. But I just find Mike Jones Jr. really being real.
He's awesome. And we got cut off. We were running late, and we only got like a minute and a half with him. And then they said, we got to go. They needed the room. And hopefully we get Mike Jones back. But he might be the best interview. So Blake,
yeah,
Blake has him on every week or whatever, how they set it up. And you can check that out on AYS. Mark J., game management will be 100% better this season. We will get plays in on time. We will not waste timeouts. I think you might be right on that.
Yeah, and that is what's so sad about from 19 to the last couple of years. And we're not going to get into all the things that happened personally. But, man, the thing that really grabbed me, and you and I were both wrong about Coach Joe, but invariably right. We didn't think that we knew he would recruit, and we knew he had expertise with coaching the D-line, but he had never been a coordinator before. And, of course, he had failed miserably at Ole Miss and developed some bad tendencies. And he got an extra chance, and he finally put it together. But in 19, man, I vividly remember he was so focused. The clock's going down, 4, 3, 2. He's running down and calling timeout. You didn't see that in 20 and 21. So not only do the quarterbacks have to be cognizant of the clock, but the coaches have to. And I can definitely tell you that this will be a more disciplined team and more focused team with those types of things.
I want to talk about our dear friend Tony Freeman. If you're thinking of buying a new home, refinancing your current mortgage, but haven't found a lender you can trust, let me tell you about Tony Freeman with Assurance Financial right here in Baton Rouge. She's a dear friend of mine and someone who many of my friends have used for their mortgage needs over and over. Her knowledge and over 25 years of experience in the mortgage industry is unsurpassed. She offers a wide range of knowledge of home loan products, whether you're a first-time home buyer, ready to buy a new home, or you just want to explore your refinance options. Tony can guide you through your next mortgage experience. You can feel confident you're making the best financial decision with Tony as your guide. Not only is Tony a huge LSU fan, but Assurance Financial is a proud partner of LSU Athletics. Call Tony today, 225-239-7150. Again, that's 225-239-7150. And please tell her you heard about her right here on TigerBait.com. NMLS number 104765, Equal Housing Opportunity, 70876. And let me tell you, folks, if you've been thinking about refinancing your home, thinking about buying a home, making a move, you better do it now, because no telling how many more rate hikes we're going to have in the coming year. You need to get with Tony, get on the ground floor, get pre-approved, or just get a lay of the land as to how things are stacking up. She is phenomenal. And another one that I'm proud to have as a sponsor of our show each and every week. She is an absolute gem in the Baton Rouge area. And by the way, it's not just in the Baton Rouge area. She's licensed in Mississippi, Texas. Give her a call. She's registered in multiple states. She will get you the best rates. She will go the extra mile to, if you need this paperwork from this thing or that thing, she's going to help you get it done and get you closed and squared away better than anybody. Tony Freeman, Assurance Financial.
Tony is what we call good people. And she's going to look you right in the eye. She's going to communicate. She's going to put a smile on your face. And everybody that I've talked to that has dealt with Tony talks about that comfort zone. You know how you meet somebody and all of a sudden you feel like you've known them for 3 months or 6 months? That's what Tony does, because A, she cares, B, she's a professional, the consummate professional, and C, she's so darn likable, Mike.
Trey Guy, again, you guys looking like the Blues Brothers tonight. Great look, especially Mike. That looks buff. Uh-oh.
You tell him the joke. Saturday Night Live, speaking of that, one of these days I'm going to come in here and put some stuff in here, and I'm going to have my guns out there like Scarborough.
Yeah.
Paul at PFM says, who was it? Oh, yeah. PFM with the line of last year, folks. He said, Scarborough looks like he could lift more than Cole Taylor.
Yeah, right.
Come on, Taylor. You got to wake up and play this year. And, oh, by the way, the Monster Mash is going to bust some people up. I just hope he can stay healthy because he plays so ferocious. I mean, the guy's 90 miles a minute. That's the kind of guy you want playing for Brian Kelly and his football team.
Dwayne Official. Watching a full practice, you guys get better gauge on how the team will respond from last year. I think not only we always talk about the organization, the attention to detail, the focus, sense of urgency, but all that's one thing. But I also think a bigger component is the kids are having fun. They're smiling, they're happy, Kelly's involved with him. I love the other day where, and of course, we didn't get that. Wasn't a part of your video where they broke into Polian's special teams drill at the end, and they had some AC/DC playing, and he's over there, raising his hands, screaming at him to turn up the volume on it because the kids were getting into this drill where it was kind of like two guys going to each other, and you had a little lane, and it's basically coverage team versus receiving team, and a way to get stay in your lanes and bypass a blocker. And it's a great drill. I wish we would have been able to video that for y'all to see. But the kids are having fun out there. To me, that's a big part of it.
Yes and no. We get a better look to see what the guys look like. We get to see some of the formations. We get to see guys, and they just started.
But it was closed yesterday. We weren't in.
But they're just really starting to work on the depth chart this week, legitimate depth chart. But this is not simulating what it's going to be like in the Superdome the first weekend in September, not simulating when you play the big boys. And so we get a little bit of it, but, we're not getting to see the meat and potatoes that we'll be watching in fall camp. But it is nice to see and be able to talk about more things with our own eyes and ears and picking up things. I mean, Jacques had one of the greatest things about Malik Neighbors burning Fouché in the end zone, and he said, "I told you can't guard me," whatever it was, real quick. I mean, he picked up the voice and everything. Oh, by the way, folks, they're playing AC/DC with the special teams drill, and there you see Jacques and Scarborough singing and dancing at the practice.
And then it was Motley Crue right after that. So I'm like, okay, somebody in my demographic picked out that the playlist.
But you and JD were jamming.
Yeah, well, I'll take the AC/DC. The Motley Crue's more Jacques.
Okay.
Yeah, Kenny Futch. The purple pants in Lexington were hideous.
That's the worst all time, seriously. The worst all time.
Yep.
One other question.
Hey, John Marion.
Yeah.
We talked about this on your show earlier. Mike, what about the defensive back from Lafayette? There was a freshman this past year. Is he a bust? You hyped him up so much as a 5-star prospect out of high school. I had him as a high 4. I didn't have him as a 5. But I think I want to say his cumulative might have been a 5 nationally amongst the 3 networks.
Another sophomore. We had
You're talking about Sage Ryan.
Yeah, Sage Ryan.
And look, here's the thing on Sage Ryan. Some people are talking about his hips he doesn't turn his hips as well they like. He's not as long as they like. I know there's a little bit of dinging him on his height. Is he a legit 5'10", 5'11"? And like Buddy said earlier, your corners are 6'1", 6'2", and your safeties are
5'10",
short. Yeah,
5'11", 5'9".
So there you go.
By the way, at safety, you have a ton of people. Look, Tolles is cross-training at corner and safety. He can play both positions. As we told you in the report last week, Jay Ward did move into the number ones with the safety with Fouché, and Brooks is going to be your slot corner or safety, however you want to call it. Obviously, Matthew Langlois is going to be getting some reps. Derek Davis is going to get some reps. Sage Ryan. And don't forget, Major Burns is sitting out, and he's going to be in the mix. So they like where they're at safety, I think, as far as depth go. They do need appreciable help at corner, though.
Heath Menard, always enjoy the show, fellas. Glad to have you with us, Heath. What's your first impressions on the quarterback battle, and who do you think starts the season? Heath, I'm telling you, man, the time that we're out there, and then they mix them up. Like on Saturday, two of the quarterbacks will get more of the reps, and then the next practice, the other two get the majority of the reps. So they move them around. But I don't know. Is it Jaden or is it Miles? That's a tough one. I don't know how to answer that right now.
Cabo mentioned it today. It's kind of interesting.
And I'm not ruling out Nussmeier.
Jarrett Lee and Justin Jefferson. Okay? Now, we know that Les loved Justin Jefferson, but I think this is a question to be posed to
Jordan
Jefferson, sorry. I think this is a question for Mike Denbrock. Do you want to stick with one guy, or is there a chance you could play two? The problem you have when you're playing two quarterbacks in a game is that you got to have a crystal ball on when to put the second guy in. But there's no doubt there could be a package for Jaden Daniels inside the red zone with RPO, because Miles Brennan is not going to beat you running RPO. So interesting to see. Also, that offensive line, though, one of the things Miles Brennan got to get better. Can't be a statue back there in escapability.
Who physically of the four do you think looks the best? I'm gonna go Nussmeier.
I know you like Nussmeier the way he looks, and obviously,
and that doesn't really matter at the quarterback spot. But man, they all have some little things. They all have something the deficiency, or one does this better.
If you could combine the top two, Miles and Daniels, you'd be set. But this is going to be interesting to play out.
And that's probably Walker Howard.
Yeah. But I think he's
but
a year away.
Ideally you want Walker to redshirt.
He's a year away. Yeah.
But they got these guys eating meals every 2.5 to 3 hours. They're getting 5,000-6,000 calories in guys like Walker.
But all the players.
That's how Chris Hilton looks the way he looks.
But they've changed their diet now. They've changed their diet.
I know, but what if all of a sudden a guy like Walker Howard's grasping it, picking it up, and he's just a savant, and all of a sudden he's 206. There's a little bit of playing possum, where you're like, oh, he should redshirt. But I assure you, you can be a parent, you can be family, you can be whatever. But I can tell you right now, Walker Howard's not going to accept that. He's gonna keep pushing every week like he can be the guy.
Understand that, but you got four quarterbacks, and unfortunately, you don't have four sets of offensive lines and four sets of wide receivers and you got four running backs, obviously. You got plenty of wide receivers, but my point is that what kind of system and mindset are they going to have with reps in the spring game, and then are they going to sit down and tell everybody, or are they going to be able to keep everybody here? Because more than likely, most people, including yourself, think that one of the four are going to leave after spring. Right?
Yeah. Well,
I'm naive. I'd love to have all four on the stage.
But if Nussmeier's the number 2 and Brennan's the number 3, I don't see Brennan leaving. Would Nussmeier leave if he's the number 2? And Jaden Daniels the number 1 and he's 185 pounds?
Yeah.
He might get snapped in half within a month.
There's no doubt.
Getting SEC play. He might be in it quicker than you can, but if Nussmeier's your number 3, then maybe you're thinking it could be trouble. But heck, I don't know. Maybe Nussmeier's got a girlfriend in town and he loves her to death and don't want to leave.
But why do you have to have an order? If you're a good coach, I think you tell everybody, look, this job's still open. There's no advantage in naming a starting quarterback in the spring, and I don't think they will. I'm going to make the prediction. I do not think they come out and say.
I think as a staff, you would love for them to be all neck and neck and it not be so clear cut, so that way you're able to,
keep them.
Yeah, you got to do a little gamesmanship and some political, it makes it easier on the back end.
By the way, Brian Kelly heavily involved with the nuances of quarterback, and we're going to see if that does become a big advantage for a guy like Miles Brennan. If you can just improve 2 or 3 things, Mike, he's got the arm, he's got the physicality, he's got the stats when he was playing and didn't get hurt before Missouri, but he does have a tendency to have trouble escaping the pocket and is not going to beat you running. So everybody's got some things that they got to do better. I just think that, like what you just said, I think you want to keep all 4 guys invested and involved. I doubt that they were going to say you 1, 2, 3, and 4, because if they do, somebody's going to walk.
Detrick Clark, any word on Tyler Steen? Not yet. Is it Alabama? Is it LSU? Does Virginia sneak in at the last minute because that's where his brother's at? I think we're going to know something any day now. By the end of the week, I have a hard time believing that it goes to the weekend. But that would be a great addition for LSU, and I know Brad Davis would love to have him. So, but we haven't heard anything. Carl Alexander, Mike and Buddy, how would you guys grade Stingley's pro day? I think he did fantastic.
Did what he had to do. He had to answer questions today. I think he did that. I think Derek talked to the media and said he has right now 9 teams that he's going to visit. There were a couple of head coaches that interacted with Sting, and they wanted to see him perform. I think he did. I think he put himself back in the top 10. Now, whether that's 7, whether that's 6, whether that's 8, whether that's 10, is too early. But if he kills it with the interviews, I definitely think that he made some money today.
Let's see real quick. Scrolling down. Carl Alexander, I see Miles as the leader. I think Brian Kelly trusts his talent and veteran leadership. I think Brian Kelly just liked the fact that he was able to talk to Miles and get him to come back, and Miles really did him a solid. And I think, honestly, I think Miles wanted to be wanted. You know, I think he wanted to feel like he was needed, and I think that was a big part of it. So I think it's a mutual thing for both parties.
Also, add this, Mike. He did not get upset when they told him ahead of time, and once again, that communication, we're going to bring in Jaden Daniels. Miles Brennan said, okay, because guess what, folks? Iron sharpens iron. Competition is going to make everybody better.
No doubt. Well, another thing I want to implore on you guys, go to TigerBait after the show. I've got it right here. If you found the show through our content item, go subscribe to TigerBait. Choose the annual package. We've got so much coming your way. We're going to be at practice tomorrow. We've got practice reports. We've got our instant analysis feature, all the interviews. I'm on the message boards day and night. We're dropping all the new offers, recruiting updates. You'll get our text alerts for breaking news. You get our newsletters. And we've got a great community on our Tiger Den message board. Got a lot of great football conversation, baseball. We've got our game threads for baseball. Got 2 or 3 guys that are great baseball guys. So we want to have you as a subscriber to TigerBait.com. After the show, go check us out, and I think you'll love what we do there. And we'll be back here on the YouTube channel tomorrow after practice with our instant analysis feature. And I will have Brian Polian's interview tomorrow night. Saturday, we get in after the first 18 periods. And we will get Brian Kelly, 4 players, and another big video package. So we've got a lot coming your way on TigerBait.com.
No doubt about it. Good seeing everybody again. And we are excited to be able to go out there. We will film our report after practice. Interesting to see a couple corners, a D lineman, an offensive line. Those guys got hurt. Look, the information on injuries is not going to get out there as well. It should not be. But once again, we try to give you the little tidbits. And Mason Smith and Jaquelin Roy are going to crush some people this year. I really like if that defense can pin their ears back and get after people. All of the complimentary defensive players are loving Matt House and his philosophy and his aggressiveness. So once again, going to be fun to see the spring game, see what kind of crowd they have. The other question that we didn't broach is Brian Kelly going to continue the tradition with 7 and 18? Now, I got PFM and others who want the 18 to go away. And, of course, the Honey Badger was just here, war number 7. I wonder if he talked to Brian Kelly. Right now, nobody's been, and they do this, of course, either after spring
Who should have 7 on defense?
No, 7 on off. You know the guy that wants 7 is Keishon Butte. Now, is him and Kelly going to make enough? But it probably won't be named until the fall camp, at the start of fall camp. But
yeah, I've said it for years. Sometimes it's okay to skip a year. Don't just give it out if nobody deserves it.
Well, I'm not going to talk.
I mean, there's
about
been some things it's bit them in the behind a few times.
Well, and I think that they diluted the 18 by giving an 18 on offense and an 18 on defense. Look, love Lloyd Cushenberry. Of course, he couldn't wear it on the jersey because of the rules with the offensive line and the numbers. By the way, Tiger Shark, disappointed I didn't hear from you. You had a bone to pick with me a couple weeks ago or last week, and I never heard back from you.
Yeah, he was. I asked him, what was that about? I told him what you had said off the record, and he was laughing.
Okay. Well, I'll say a lot of things off the record.
Yeah. All right, guys. We'll see you on the other side. See you here tomorrow night with our incidents analysis, and we're going to load the site up with post-practice coverage. And thanks for everybody participating. Please like, share, and go subscribe to TigerBait. Good night.